friend contacted me after I had the fire in the white MX5, saying that he had a rolling purple shell available. So he sent me over some pictures and we agreed a price and he delivered it to me. So this is the new car. I say rolling shell, it did have an engine, it did work, but there wasn't much to it, as you can see from the interior. The car has quite a bit of history from Japan. Luckily, James knows the previous owner, Richard, who had it in Japan. Richard bought the car in Japan in 2001. I don't know if it was mildly modified back then, but I know he did do some bits and pieces to it. From memory, it had a garage vary front bumper, garage vary vented bonnet or hood. It had a St. May's centre exit exhaust, Zoom fuel lid. It had Solex carbs, Mazda speed strap brace. Yeah, they had quite a lot done to it. I can't remember the full spec, but yeah, Richard named it the Purple Monster, and that's where the name came from, and it just stuck. So the first thing I done was transferred all the parts that I managed to salvage from the white one, including the HSD coilovers, hard top and the carbon fibre panels. I also bought some cheap alloy wheels, just so the car wasn't on the original daisies. 10 days of ownership, and the guy who lived opposite decided to reverse his car out of his driveway and hit my car in the rear quarter. While the insurance claim was going through, I carried on with the build, so I fitted the TR Lane half cage, as well as a MX5 parts dual exit exhaust and a Fujitsu, I think that's how you pronounce it, manifold. The car went in for the insurance repair, and in the meantime I'd sold the turbo kit, and I spoke to the body shop and they were happy to do a full respray if I just paid the difference. So I ended up paying £500 and got a full respray. I bought some Tracklight Apex wheels in a gold finish. Hopefully this would look good against the purple. I managed to find some side skirts. Originally I thought these were Mazda Speed, but it turns out they're made by a company called Canspo. And here's the car all finished and polished up. The body shop also cleaned up and revived the carbon fibre panels, and they did look amazing. Next up was a Mark II dashboard swap. Unfortunately I didn't do this. H&S Performance done the swap for me, and it made such an improvement with the car. We also had the interior retrimmed by All Trims in North Walsham, Norfolk. They used a black Napa leather with the purple diamond stitching. They've done the seats, door cards, transmission tunnel and parcel shelf. A very exciting package turned up from Rev9 in the US. This was a genuine garage vary tail light panel with the tail lights. I got asked to display the car inside the hall at Modified Nationals. Usually this is where the top show cars are able to park, so it was an honour to be part of it. I had some more changes to the interior, which included some billet aluminium wiper and light stalks, some genuine KG work door handles, and carbon Miata carbon door cups and aluminium door pulls. Golden polished wheels went in favour of some Rota RKR. This was a staggered setup with 15x8 ET0 on the front and 15x9 ET0 on the rear. With a little bit of trimming, so Mitsubishi Eclipse air vents fit the Mark II dash perfectly. I won a genuine Nardi deep corn steering wheel and Boss on eBay, so happy days. The KG Works ducktail and boot lid made a reappearance. The engine was also removed and the engine bay painted gloss white. This was a good idea at the time because it looked amazing, but it was an absolute nightmare to keep clean. The rocker cover also got resprayed in a grey and then later on to a purple. After telling myself I wasn't going to do anything to the engine, I ended up going the supercharger route. So I found a Eaton supercharger off a Mini Cooper S with delivery miles. I also compiled the kit, which included the TR lane inlet and outlet tensioner bracket, as well as a cab's 15% reduction pulley and a modified bypass valve. Front mount intercooler with the typical generic eBay silicone hoses and alloy bends. And this is all fitted. So I went through various developments of the air filter. I just couldn't find something I was happy with. I got the car booked in at Nick at Scuzzle Motorsport to have it mapped, and it produced 204 brake at the flywheel. I went to my very first track day at Snetterton. The car performed brilliantly, apart from the bolts holding the supercharger bracket onto the engine decided to come loose towards the end of the day. There we go. It took me almost 3 years to find one, and I finally got my hands on a garage varied bonnet, and I also managed to find this Zoom fuel lid. You're probably starting to notice that I get bored of wheels very quickly. So I bought some Workmeister S1s. These were my dream wheels. And also some wide arches. The car went back into the body shop to have the wide arches fitted and the bonnet painted. I also had a Mazda Speed A-Spec front bumper painted and fitted, as well as a Ducato headlight cover. So this was really starting to look like the original car when it was in Japan, well, minus the bumper. I received my very first magazine feature. This was in Banzai magazine. Shout out to Matt Woods Photography for taking the photos. We were able to get access to the Beckles main dealer showroom. So yeah, shout out to Wright Mazda for letting us do this. I got asked to be on the display stand for Auto Perfection car cleaning at JDM Coombe. First time I'd ever been and loved it. I went a shorter route with the intercooler, this time over the top of the radiator. This meant that the radiator had to be dropped by about 1 inch and tilted back. I also made some covers for the tensioners and the top of the radiator out of some aluminium. I got the TR Lane half cage powder coat white. I thought this would look good with the white centers of the work wheels. Adding more personal touches to the interior, Jazz Performance made these custom engraved sill covers for me, and they look brilliant. Carrying on with the custom interior parts, I contacted Adam at Rev9 in America, who makes custom gauge faces for Mark 1, 2 and 3 MX5s. I sent him an idea and this logo that I created, and he worked his magic and done the rest. And yeah, they look pretty cool. I do still have these, and I did think about getting them framed and put them on the wall inside the house. Slightly older photo, but a photo I'd named the Gentleman's Race Car with the Sparco Sprint bucket seat. I installed a few more AEM gauges, and adamant rev limiter made me some custom backing plates for these to match the main cluster. A lot of people told me I should have stopped at this point of the build, but I got bored and I wanted to try something different. So I found a company in America called Garage Star, and they produce these chassis mount wings. And after speaking to Kenjo, I got one ordered and got it shipped over. I used some Dibond, which is a aluminium composite material to make the bottom splitter, as well as adding some stave rods and some U-trim to cover the edges. Back end was missing something, so I bought a Exige S2 GT3 rear diffuser and cut it up and made it fit the car. Jay's Garage made the custom center exit exhaust, and that just finished the back end off a treat. I made some canards for the front bumper out of some sheet steel. I did originally use some aluminium, but it just folded. I took the car on a track day at the Lotus test track in Hethel, Norfolk. Another order arrived from Rev9 in the US, this time the new LED taillights for the garage vario panel. I entered the car into the top 16 at Modified Nationals. This was a huge achievement for me in the car, and it was great to be amongst some of the best in the UK. Took the car to Santa Pod for a run what you brung. The car done terrible after finding out that I had a loose boost pipe causing me issues throughout the day. Started to build up a spare 1.6 engine. This was another import engine. So I cleaned everything up, painted it with smooth hammerite, changed all the nuts and bolts, washers to stainless, changed every gasket, seal, sensor, you name it. I had a complete refresh. I had a coolant reroute, adjustable vernier pulleys, Mazda 323 rocker cover, Toyota coilover plugs, coil packs, but unfortunately never went in the car. I saw on Instagram a photo of a white Mark 1 with a Mazda speed bumper, and he'd fit an RX-7 FD 97 spec splitter. So I bought one from Nengun, and as soon as it arrived, took an angle grinder to it and bolted to the bumper. Next came the livery. So this is inspired by the HKS livery, but with the colours changed and obviously the sponsors changed to suit the build. So all the companies on the car have been a massive help with the build. So yeah, that's just a little thank you to them for it. Jazz Performance had then launched their new flush mounted headlights. I've been pestering Vlad for years, I think, for a set of these, and he kindly sent me the first set in the UK. So I acted as his guinea pig to check the fitment and everything, and I absolutely love them. The plan was to get them colour coded at some point, but unfortunately I didn't keep the car long enough. Another piece of the JDM puzzle was a set of AWD Artworks Dewar cluster, as well as some RS Refine deep rings, and these are like rock and horse shit. Another package from Rev9, this time a rain tray for the garage road bonnet, some Rev9 door mirrors, Neelix handbrake cover, and some Mortanabe center caps for another MX5. I was lucky enough to get my second magazine feature, this time a Fast Car magazine in the UK. Unfortunately, they refused to do the feature with the graphics, so I had to make sure that the graphics weren't on before. I entered the car into the JAE Show and Shine, and I ended up coming home with Best Mazda. Managed to pick up this Mazda Speed steering wheel made by Momo. Overall, it was in decent condition, but the leather needed redoing, so I had that retrimmed, and I also won this trap timer off Yahoo Auctions, which is quite rare, as well as finding this carbon fibre gear knob. Tinted the headlights on the Jazz Performance flush headlights. I then decided to take the RX-7 splitter off because it was just too low, and here are some photos from a clean. I then made the very difficult decision to break the car for parts. I felt that my time with the car had come to an end. I couldn't justify spending even more money on it. So I decided to break off parts and to buy my dream car, which was an R34 GTT Skyline.